About a month ago, I made this video right here explaining a pretty vague situation. Recently, I've been blindsided and it's emotionally impacted me more than I thought it would. So I've been doing a lot of crying, I'm not gonna lie. I'm finally going to get into what this blindside was, and this is what today's video is about. Hey y'all, it's Ilana and welcome back to my channel. I post content about living in San Francisco, and then once a month I make videos about what it's like to navigate the dating world as a single person. So if you're navigating the dating world just like me, or you currently live in the Bay Area, or you want to move to the Bay Area, or you want to visit, hit the subscribe button down below as I post every Monday and sometimes on Friday. So this video that I am talking about is how to get closure without having the final talk. This is based off a recent personal experience, and everything that I'm about to share with you, well, it's stuff that I've learned and mistakes that I've made along the way and how you cannot make them and what you can learn from my experiences overall. So you're probably wondering what this blind side was. Long story short, a couple days after I moved back to San Francisco, I met somebody. Yes, I seriously met somebody during a global pandemic. And we were casually dating for the past 2 months, and they ended things with me a couple of weeks ago. So I'd say probably a month now. And I'm gonna tell you what we're not gonna do in the comment section. We are not going to call this person an asshole. We're not going to say what a terrible person he is. We are not gonna talk badly about him because he really didn't do anything wrong, except for maybe one thing that really bothered me, which I'll explain. But he handled this as best as he could, and so I would appreciate it if we didn't talk crap about this person, because he's actually a really good person. So I'm not going to get into the aspects of my relationship. We're here to just talk about the ending. So I was at my Instacart shift, and I got a text from him. I also started my new recruiting job that morning. I thought the text was going to say something along the lines of "Hey, how did your first day go?" Instead, I got this. "Hey, I just wanted to let you know that I'm not really feeling this between us like I'd hoped to. I know we agreed on no strings since I wasn't looking for anything serious, but to be honest, I'm not really wanting that either. I haven't felt the spark I was hoping to. I thought about this last night and came to this decision, so I wanted to let you know." So I said, "Hey, it's okay. Let's call him George. I appreciate you being honest with me. It's definitely a bit sad to hear, but seriously, no worries. I just want you to be happy, and I hope you find someone amazing. I think you're a wonderful and respectable person. I wish you nothing but the best, and thank you for letting me know." Then he says, "How did I know you would respond so perfectly? Seriously, your maturity and communication is how I wish everyone interacted. Thank you for saying that. It means a lot to hear. I wish you all the best in dating and prep. I hope your new job goes well for you too. All the best." And I said, "Haha, you're too sweet, and thank you so much as well. Take care."
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it.
So where do I start with this? I was at work when I got this text message. Talk about really awful timing to get a breakup text message. This whole text message completely threw me off guard. It stung a ton, and I was really distracted throughout the rest of my shift. Basically, I had to suppress all of my emotions, act like everything was okay for the next 3 hours. I really wanted to go home so badly when this happened, but I couldn't, or else I would get a reliability strike, which is not good. First things first that I wish I hadn't done in this situation. So let this be a learning lesson for you too. I'm a very impulsive person. I think there was about a 7-minute wait before I had texted him back, but I really wish I hadn't said what I had said to him. So if you get a breakup text when you're at work or when you're in the middle of doing something and you accidentally open it up, my advice to you is to not be impulsive. You can wait to discuss the situation. Let me tell you what I wish I had sent him. I wrote this in my phone. Let me find it really quick. If I could go back in time, this is what I wish I would have said to him. "Hey, so I'm at work and can't really act on this at the moment. I do wish you had communicated this to me differently. Can we please chat over the phone later tonight when I'm back?" That would have been a much better way to handle that situation, so I could just talk about this, because this was 2 months of my time. I wanted to get clarity on what happened. I accepted and respected what he told me, but I was very, very confused. So when I got back home, let's say 4 hours later, that's when the tears came and I started crying a ton. I haven't experienced this kind of hurt from a guy in a really long time. The last time a guy hurt me like this was, I want to say 4 years ago. Back then, I didn't know how to handle rejection very well. And I forgot what this kind of hurt felt like. But I want to say this is the healthiest that I've ever handled some kind of breakup or rejection in any kind of way. I also have San Francisco to thank me for when it comes to handling rejection. That's something I learned over time, so I was able to come out of this a lot stronger, but at the same time, this didn't make it sting or hurt any less. We're going to talk about getting clarity and the difference between getting closure. I want you to know that there's a difference between the two. So many people will say, I need to have the conversation for closure with this person. No, I think you mean you want to get clarity to know what happened. So I'm going to tell you how I ended up getting clarity and some mistakes that I made, what I've learned, and what you can do, and what I'm going to do the next time something like this happens. So let's talk about the next day. I don't know about you, but I feel like the day after a breakup of any kind is the day where it hurts the worst. I woke up around 5 in the morning crying hysterically. I could not bring myself to go to work that day, and I took the day off from prep. I did not work out. I went off my diet. I only ate twice that day. I just needed that whole entire day to be sad. So later that night, I was feeling really crummy. It was driving me crazy because I had some questions. I just wanted to reach out to him and get some clarity and just see what was really going on. Because there were some things in his first text that I just really didn't know what he really meant. So I'm going to share with you what I sent him. So I said, hey, yesterday you said you weren't feeling the spark you hoped for. What does that mean? I want to close the book on this and move forward, but I don't actually understand what you said, especially when you told me when you didn't want anything casual either. Basically, I wanted to know, sir, what were you trying to accomplish with me? Could you please clarify it for me so I don't obsess over my confusion and can have a better peace of mind? Thank you. So he was kind enough to reply back and he said, hey, of course I will. Even though it was a no strings type setup for me, I still need a connection to have an ongoing relationship, and I wasn't feeling a strong connection. Particularly for how long we were talking and the amount of time we had spent, I had hoped we would have grown closer. I hope that provides more clarity for you. And I said, it does. Thank you.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it.
So it's like when you squeeze a lime, a lot of the juice comes out, right? I thought I had gotten all the juice out of that lime. I thought that was all the clarity that I needed. I'm going to tell you a mistake that I made here. As a couple of days passed, I realized I just had 1 or 2 more questions left for him. I just did not have all my thoughts together. If you are going to seek clarity, do not get clarity a second time, which is something that I did, and I'm about to get into that in the next segment. But the biggest mistake that I made is I didn't have all my thoughts together. So let's move on to the second time where I seek clarity, shall we? Okay, so 5 days later, it was a Sunday. I woke up crying that morning, and I think the reason was I was feeling very triggered because Sundays were the days where we had dates. This was going to be the first Sunday that I wasn't going to have a date with him. So I was feeling pretty freaking vulnerable that day. And it was driving me crazy that I hadn't asked him everything that I wanted to ask him. I still felt like there was some sort of information missing. The main thing being, how could you not feel a connection within 2 months? Were you always feeling this way? When did you start feeling this way? That is, I think, the last thing that I really wanted to know. So let me tell you what I sent him in the morning. Hey George, I appreciate you giving me a bit more clarity earlier this week. I know you made it clear you didn't feel the spark, and I get that and accept it. However, I haven't been fully honest with myself, you, and my own feelings. I still have a lot of questions to ask because this really hurts more than I thought, because this was 2 months of both of our time. I'm honestly not comfortable with how abruptly things ended between us, even though I made it seem that way. I was in the middle of my Instacart shift when you broke up with me. I was in a huge state of shock and felt really blindsided, which is why my reaction of it seemed like it was totally accepting. It was really hard to hold everything together in public. I'm only human and I just wanted to understand a bit deeper because I really thought everything was going well and that we were on the same page. Is there any way we can chat over the phone in the next few days? I'd really appreciate it. So his response was, "Morning. I know it felt sudden for you, and I'm sorry for how this has impacted you. And I'm sorry about the timing too. I don't really have a whole lot more to say. I wasn't feeling it between us, and as soon as I was sure, I let you know. We had a couple dates in person and a bunch of video calls over a few months. I don't want to make this bigger than it was. We were still getting to know each other." And I said, "I understand. I don't want to make it bigger than it was too. I just want to be able to talk one last time. And I just really appreciate if I could get that chance. I promise this will be the last of it." So then he says, "What do you want to ask? Why does it need to be a call? Can you text me?" I said, "It's okay if you don't have much to say. I'd like to get the chance to say some things that are better expressed verbally than written, and I'm hoping you'd be willing to listen." And then he said, "Okay, you can call me now if you'd like to say something to me," with a smiley face. I called him. I was crying. Of course I was. I was very vulnerable. And we talked for 10 minutes, and it was a pretty freaking awkward and uncomfortable conversation. He truly did not have much to say. Basically, to summarize what the 10-minute conversation was about, I just wanted to know why 2 months later, like, why not sooner than later? I mean, of course I mentioned, this really hurts. I just wanted to know what happened. I will say not once did I ever ask him, did I do something wrong? Was it something I did? Because I damn well knew I didn't do anything wrong. This was all on him. This had nothing to do with me. So I didn't take this personally, but I just wanted to understand, why did you need 2 months for you to realize if there was going to be a connection between us? I don't know about you, but for me, I think 2 months is way too long for you to realize if there's a spark between you and another person or not. I really wish this had happened maybe after like the 4th date, because I personally feel like after a couple of dates, sometimes even the 1st or 2nd date, I'm able to know if there's a connection there or not, and that's something that I want to keep continuing to pursue. To give him the benefit of the doubt just a little bit, and I know y'all are going to see this as a huge red flag, but this guy has never been single before. I'm not going to put his personal business out here, but long story short, he hasn't been single since he was a teenager. He's 30 now. So the first relationship lasted for a very, very, very long time. And then they broke up, and then he started dating somebody shortly after, and they dated for, I think it was like a year and a half, somewhere along there. And when I first met him, he had only been single for 3 months. So I made this risk. I wasn't expecting to get into a relationship with him to begin with. We agreed on a casual relationship, and I'll get into the details of my relationship with him in a whole nother video, because he literally is a whole nother video. So this guy doesn't really know how to navigate the dating world as a single human being. This is probably why he ended up handling this the way that he did. I don't think he really meant for this to happen, but I hope he's learned from it. I hope he's learned that it shouldn't take you 2 months to realize whether you're into someone or not. I found that to be a huge slap in the face when he told me that he just wasn't feeling it with me when he made it seem like he was. That's why it hurt. I mean, the guy treated me really well. What we had was very healthy. I don't know. If the feelings just aren't there, they're not there, okay? So I respected that. He was like, "Are you looking for like a specific event of when something happened where I wasn't feeling it anymore?" No, it was just based off feeling that can't be measured in any kind of way. He said something like that. I just said, "Okay, I get it." And that was enough. I just basically wished him well after that. I told him, I was grateful for my time with him. I still stand by everything that I said. Like, I still think he's a respectable person. Oh my God. No, we are not getting emotional, Ilana. No, we are not doing that. It's been a month. Chill. Okay, so anyway, about 5 minutes after that phone call, I felt a lot better. I got the last bit of juice out of the lime. I think that was all the information that I needed. Even though it wasn't the best information I got, I think it was just enough to help me move on from there. What did I go wrong here? Well, the text that I sent him seeking clarity the second time is a text that I really should have sent him the first time around. When you ask someone for clarity on why they broke up with you, here are the things you need to do. Do it when the breakup is fresh. Maybe do it the day after they break up with you or the 2 days later, but don't wait any longer than that. The second thing is when you seek clarity, do it once. Make sure you have a list of questions. Plan all your thoughts in advance. Everything that you plan or write down is everything you're going to say. And if you miss something, it's too late from there. And then after you seek clarity, do not contact that person anymore. I haven't spoken to him since I had that phone call. So that was like almost a month ago. I don't completely regret the way that I handled this. I do wish there were some things that I wish I had changed, but I'm glad that I got the clarity that I needed. So I was able to just get an understanding of what went wrong. Another thing that you just need to be mindful of when you seek clarity is don't expect their answers to satisfy you. Getting clarity isn't really exactly supposed to make you feel better about yourself. What they're going to say is going to hurt. Like Lizzo says, the truth hurts. So just be prepared to not be satisfied with what's going to be said to you. Let's talk about what you finally want to know. How do you get closure without having the final talk? You thought that the final talk was closure, right? Well, you're wrong. 2 things you need to know when it comes to getting closure. First thing, closure has to come from you. Closure doesn't come from the person who broke up with you, okay? The reason being is that if you say that this person gave you closure, you're just giving them the power in that breakup. The purpose of getting closure is for you to take back your power, for you to regain your strength and to become emotionally stronger again. So let's talk about the first thing that I did for closure and what you can do too. First things first, processing my emotions. I spent the first 5 days crying over the breakup. In the morning, I was the most vulnerable. That is where most of my crying happened. Every day got a little bit better. Sunday was very triggering and I was crying kind of like how I was on that Wednesday after the breakup happened. But yeah, just processing my emotions was big for me. Cry your little heart out, especially the day after it happens. I fully recommend taking the day off the day after your breakup. You need to take a day to just be sad. Just sit on your bed and cry. Just be sad. And then as the days progress, start getting out of your house. Go on a walk. Go see your friends. Talk about it with your friends if you need to. I am here to tell you that you need to take a whole day for yourself to just process your emotions, whether you need to cry, to be angry. Maybe you're not an emotional person at all. Still take a day off. You still need to decompress from this some way, somehow. So that is the first thing that I recommend doing. And I would say about after a week of just kind of grieving, I haven't really found myself crying that much, except for where I almost shed some tears in this video, but I stopped myself because I am better than that. The second thing that I did, I wrote a letter to myself as if I was talking to him or writing a letter to him. I wrote down a letter of some thoughts and feelings I had regarding our relationship, but I had other feelings that I wish I could have said to him, and that really helped me. Writing down your thoughts and feelings as if you're talking to that person or if you're writing a letter to them can be very therapeutic and can be a really great way for you to get closure and to make yourself feel better. Another thing you can do, this is something that I've done in the past with other guys. I didn't do this for him, but I really recommend you do it. It's called the speak in silence method. Basically, what that would look like is sitting in a room by yourself and you're going to basically talk to yourself like the person who broke up with you is sitting right in front of you. This is a good time to cry, let out all your frustrations out, and pretending that you can have a conversation with them. I've done that before. And that's really helped me. I didn't do that just because there wasn't really a need to. I felt like writing it down was a lot better for me than having that fake conversation. It's up to you what you feel comfortable with, but it's a great way to get closure for yourself. The third thing that I did was that I archived his text messages in WhatsApp. So he didn't have an iPhone, which I would give him crap for all the time, but he is also from another country. Yeah, he's not a US citizen. God, I love dating international men. Anyway, that's besides the point. He had just moved to San Francisco a month before the pandemic stuff happened, so he hasn't really gotten a chance to make friends here in the city. My guess is that he doesn't really use his SMS text messaging that much, and he's probably more comfortable with using WhatsApp because it's a way for him to text his friends from back home. But archiving the messages where they're out of sight, out of mind, they're not completely deleted, but they're hidden, so I can't really access them unless I really try hard to find them. So that helped me to just kind of clear his messages out of WhatsApp because I still use WhatsApp to text other people. I have friends in other countries that I talk to on a regular basis. So that really helped me. If you want to just delete all the text messages, you can go ahead and do that too. But if you're able to archive text messages, that's a great way to kind of get that person out of sight, out of mind. And then the fourth thing that I did is that I continued to do me. And you should do the same too. I'm still training for a bikini competition right now. It is still happening. I'm so excited. I get to go to Tahoe in August. I can't wait for that. I've been working very hard these past few months, and I am super hungry for that stage. Even though I have zero expectations of placing because I don't have a gym right now, I'm just focusing on having fun at that show. And it's something that I worked very hard for, and I'm still going to showcase all the hard work that I've done. And I am currently still trying to find a full-time job. I also have to find a new apartment again. I thought I was able to keep this one, but we haven't been able to find a fourth roommate, so I will be subletting my friend's place for at least the month of July, and then my roommates and I are going to look together to find a 3-bedroom somewhere in the neighborhood that we live now or neighborhoods close by. We have a couple in mind, and we're pretty excited about it, but at the same time, we're really stressed because we're also pissed that we have to leave our apartment. So that's a little update with me along the side of that. And another thing of me getting closure is making a YouTube video about it. Sometimes I really like talking about my feelings openly on the internet. It's like I'm the client seeking therapy and my audience is the therapist. It does help to make videos about this. I love talking about my dating life, even the hard times. I think it's important to talk about, and it takes a lot of courage to share stuff like this out on the internet. I'm really curious to know what are some ways that you see closure. Please comment down below and let me know. I'd love to know your thoughts. So it's been about a month since it ended. I will be honest with you, I'm not 100% moved on. I'm not really ashamed or embarrassed to admit that. Sometimes it just takes me a little bit longer to move on from a person. And I think the reason this hurt is basically of the kind of connection that I built with him. I did feel that connection with him. I also got a little bit attached. I was really starting to care about him. And I still kind of do care about him just a little bit, even though he doesn't really feel the same, and that's okay. I still just need a little bit more time to move on. As far as dating for me goes right now, I have realized that I'm not emotionally available at all, and I've decided to put my dating life on hold until the summer ends. Or at least until my competition season is over. It's very hard to date while on contest prep. I only got to enjoy real food with this guy once because I did meet him before prep started, and I never really got to enjoy other meals with him after that. And I want to be able to go on dates and grab food with men, and it's hard to do that when you're in contest prep. So I want to wait till I'm 100% moved on from this situation. Because I'm not, like I mentioned. I'm almost positive that I will be doing A-okay in August, and I will probably have forgotten about this whole thing by then. But until now, I really recommend taking dating breaks. Especially after you've dated someone for like a long, short period of time. When I say long, short period, I'm talking about like at least 2 months, how it was for me. Because that can be emotionally draining. I mean, it did bruise my ego, and it was a bit emotionally taxing for me because I haven't felt that kind of hurt in a long time. It's been a really long time since I've dated somebody for at least 2 months. And this is also the first guy in San Francisco that I've dated for this long. I've never made it past the third date, and when this guy, it went on for 2 months. To me, this kind of felt like a big deal just because I haven't had that happen to me in a while. That's basically how I'm feeling and how I'm doing right now. I definitely look forward to getting back into a better headspace again, and once that happens, I'm gonna be like, bring on all of the men. Hopefully I get some more international men coming my way because they're so much better than American men. Oh my God. That is what closure really is. It is not about talking to the person and having them give it to you. It's gotta come from yourself, boo-boo. So I hope you have gotten a better understanding of how I seek closure, how you don't need the final talk to get closure. You can get clarity, but that's not the final talk. Clarity is literally just you learning their side of the story as to why they broke up with you, and that's it. If you liked this video and you thought it helped you, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, y'all.